All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome. Thank you. This is a Township Council regular meeting for August 16th, 2022. This regular meeting of the Council of the Township of Montclair is being broadcast live on TV 34 and is streaming live on the Montclair TV 34 YouTube channel. It is available on demand and can and will be rebroadcast. This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. This meeting was included in the annual notice of the meeting schedule set forth in Resolution R-21-20, adopted by the Council at its conference meeting of November 15, 2021, advertised in the official newspaper on December 30th, 2021, and January 6, 2022, posted on the bulletin boards outside the municipal building, has remained continuously posted there. In addition, a copy of this annual notice is and has been made available to the public and is on file in the office of the Township Clerk. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk.
Councillor Cummings?
Present.
Deputy Mayor Herlock? Absent. Councillor Price Abrams?
Present.
Councillor Russo? Absent. Councillor Schlager?
Here.
Councillor Yacobelis?
Present.
Mayor Spiller?
Present. We have the agenda with flexibility and objection. Would like to move to the approval of the minutes. They've been presented to the Council, the minutes of April 5th and April 19th, 2022. Any corrections or additions? I so move those minutes.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, minutes are adopted. Thank you. Next, we have a proclamation recognizing Montclair as Monarch City. Councilman Yacobelis?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll step down to the podium if that's okay.
Excellent. Mm-hmm.
This is a Township of Montclair proclamation recognizing Montclair as a monarch city. Whereas the monarch butterfly is an iconic North American species whose multi-generational migration and metamorphosis from caterpillar to butterfly has captured the imagination of millions of Americans, and whereas 20 years ago more than 1 billion eastern monarch butterflies migrated to Mexico, by the winter of 2019 to 2020 the population decreased 80%. Monarch scientists attribute the decline to habitat loss, disease, and pesticides. And whereas local governments can be a critical proponent in helping to save the monarch butterfly by providing habitats at public parks, roadways, community gardens, office buildings, and recreation centers. In addition, schools, homes, churches, and businesses can provide essential habitats for monarchs too. You want to try some?
Whereas simple changes in landscaping practices, including planting native milkweed and reducing pesticide use, can make a significant difference for the monarchs, and whereas creating healthy habitats and educating citizens will benefit other pollinators that need our support, and whereas in 2008, the Township of Montclair was certified by National Wildlife Federation as the first community wildlife habitat in New Jersey. Again, in 2020, Montclair became the state's host town for the Northeast Pollinator Pathway Project. In partnership with the Northeast Earth Coalition, Montclair is making major strides in the preservation of monarch butterflies. Like to finish?
And whereas be it resolved by the Township of Montclair, hereby pledges to help restore habitat for the monarch butterflies and encourage our citizens to do the same, so that these magnificent butterflies will once again flourish across our state and the continent. Now therefore, the Mayor and the Township of the Council of Montclair hereby proclaim Montclair as Monarch City on August 16th, 2022, and proclaim Monarch Butterfly Week starting August 15th, 2022 through August 21st, 2022. And I'll just say too that I think this is a nice thing. There are a lot of environmentally conscious, environmentally friendly communities in our area, in the country. We're the first town in the tri-state area, in the whole tri-state area, metropolitan area of New York City, and only the second in all of New Jersey out of 535 municipalities, I think it is. We're the second. So really, really big deal. So it's a testament to Jose and all the other environmental leaders in this town and in that history that we got to this point where we're able to take these actions to restore this habitat. And I like to say, and credit to all of my colleagues, we're a town that can achieve a AAA bond rating and bring back the monarch butterflies too. And that's really a beautiful thing to be able to do all of these things at once. So thank you for your leadership, Jose. Glad to have you here.
I would like to say a few words.
I'll just say one thing first, since I'm here. And I want to just add that I've had an education, of course, in this, and I've been working in my very small way in my own garden, as you've been doing it in public spaces, and encouraging many people to do it in their own homes and yards. And the milkweed, I understand now, is more about the caterpillar phase, and the other pollinator plants are important for the monarch butterfly, but this migration, that if we don't create those places along the way, that's how we lose them. And so it's with very accessible to anyone to participate. And thank you for leading that way and helping us really beautify our world, but also the important chain that links us all, humanity and other living things. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to express my gratitude to the council members for the support that we have received over the years from our elected officials. Lori and Peter, it is always a pleasure working with you, both of you. I also want to dedicate this new environmental accomplishment to our children, because everything that we are doing is building an environmental legacy for them. For about 50 years, Trina Polos has been an advocate for monarch butterfly. She's our dear butterfly lady. She has inspired many in town and beyond, including myself. I also want to thank you, Ann Steyer, Laura Marquez, Susan Eckert, and all the teachers in our public school system that has been part of this environmental movement. A special thanks to David Wasmuth for his almost 2 decades of local environmental work in town. I am very proud to say, in every place that I speak, Montclair is the capital of environmental movement in New Jersey. Thank you.
Mayor, could I just say, Jose, that book, the book that Trina wrote, is it Hope for the Butterflies? Yes. That's it, okay, because I got it in Spanish and English. I gave it to my cousins in Puerto Rico in Spanish. But Hope for the Butterflies is something people should get and read. It's a nice yellow-covered book by Trina Paulus. Thank you.
Yeah, certainly, and I think you noted it at the end. It's really, I think, important to note how Montclair has been a leader on so many environmental issues. As Councilman Jacobellis was noting, it might be something that's larger, whether it's energy aggregation and on the scale of things that come through and do something like that, or something impactful in the lives of butterflies, caterpillars, and certainly our environment, as we're talking about here today. Or it's all of our departments looking for energy efficiencies, switching over to electric vehicles, building that infrastructure work. It's that comprehensive package that I think makes Montclair that environmental leader in so many ways, and it's because certainly also because of the work that you and others are doing. So we thank you for that. Appreciate it. Okay. With that, we're going to move into our public comment. All speakers must please come up and fill in the sign-in sheet next to the podium before addressing the council. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. If you wish to comment on a pending ordinance listed in tonight's agenda, you can make your comment during the public hearing for that ordinance. Anyone for public comment?
Good evening. I had a few people comment on my comments last week, and they asking me to find out if there are any responses to what's happening to the Mills building. 1, hasn't a senior director been appointed? 2, and I don't know what those answers are, and I don't know how we would find out if you had answers to it. But I'm really here tonight on another topic. I wonder if you ever have an aha moment. I was very happy to hear about the butterfly, the monarch butterfly, but Montclair is one of the towns of the 157 in New Jersey that is not a tree city. I've brought that up other times. It's relatively easy. We have trees. We have people that are interested in it. And I think, and I don't know which department this would be under, but I really think we should look into having a tree city. Did you want to ask? Oh, okay. The other question, I don't know if you read the New York Times, but in yesterday's paper, the day before, There was an article how a resident in California is switching from grass to a pebble lawn and putting in turf. And I think we could set up some sort of a landscape advisory committee in town. I know you don't like advisory committees because you don't have any anymore, but to help some of the landowners with these large lawns be able to create more environmentally friendly properties. There's a waste of water, the pollution from the fertilizers. As you walk around town or drive around town, you can see properties where the lawn is being reduced, and they're beautiful plantings in the front, in the back, wherever. And I think if some of the large lawn owners were aware of ways that they could participate in creating a better environment for us, that our native plants don't need as much watering. I think this is something, if you want to think of something else, you might think about that. Whenever I go someplace, I take pictures of these little transit buses these towns have. That's another topic. The transportation here for seniors is, I don't know, if you need a phone to call an Uber, that's not a handy thing. A lot of people don't have cell phones to call for help. I don't know what state we are with our Uber and Lyft situations, but we'd like some of the answers to some of these things. Have you appointed someone to be the director? At last session, you mentioned there was someone, but now we don't know that there is. So I don't know. And how do we find out? That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Stafford, for the position?
Yes, I can say that an employee in the office was appointed to do the tasks and ensure that all of the tasks associated with that position while another employee is on leave are fulfilled. And there is a person doing the tasks, and there is sufficient redundancy in the health department in the senior services lifelong Montclair office. After tasking an individual and a redundant backup, I was approached by the employees union. I didn't actually know that the employee was in a union. I was approached by the employees union, who brought to my attention the fact that the collective negotiations agreement requires, after 15 working days of appointment to a management position, negotiation of compensation. The union and I have met. We have another meeting in the works, and I have every reason to believe that that'll be brought to bear shortly. In any event, though, if anyone has questions with respect to senior services or lifelong Montclair, they can call 973-744-3278 or 973-509-4974 or 973-509-4970. And all questions will be answered.
Mr. Stafford, may I speak to the transportation situation? Looking at these statistics from year-to-date 21 to July, January to July of 21, with the shuttle bus, I believe there was a little over 6,000 riders. Year-to-date this year with the Uber and Lyft, it's close to 13,000 is the ridership this year. So it's there and it's robust and being fully utilized. And we're meeting tomorrow, as a matter of fact, with the County of Essex regarding even expanding the usage of the.
And how do we find out that information that you just released?
I can get it to you. I can get that to you. And as I said, currently with the Uber and Lyft, it's a circumference of 10 miles outside of Essex that's available. And in speaking with Mr. Vieira from the county, Michael Vieira, he's thinking of specifically having a grocery route, okay, even though it's being used now. So I just wanted to bring you up on the current stats and the stats from last year to this year, that it's over doubled what the ridership was. Thank you.
Any other public comments?
Good evening. My name is David Corfidge. I'm a 15-year resident of Tuxedo Road. Actually here more in my capacity as president of Montclair Climate Action, which some of you may have heard of, the local climate activism group. I want to make a general comment and then a more specific comment. The general comment, and we'll be coming back, I'm sure, over the course of the next 6 months with a variety of things. But we'd love to see Montclair step up and be a climate leader. I know it's done some great things, but I also think there's towns in New Jersey like Princeton and Jersey City who have really sort of taken a lead in some of the climate stuff, and I'd love to see Montclair step up with a clear climate plan and start taking very strong action, everything from installing chargers so renters can charge vehicles, as the mayor mentioned, electrifying the city fleet, putting solar panels on roof of city buildings, or even using the renewable electricity program to push to the level of renewable electricity that we really need, which is really 100% renewable electricity as much as possible. I know the Montclair Environmental Commission is working on a climate plan, and we're working our own thing. I hope we can partner with them and really work with you all to make Montclair sort of a climate leader that we want to be. One specific thing would definitely help, and I know this has come up in the past, is of course making sure we have a sustainability coordinator. I know the position was posted because there's grants available and so we can take the lead on things. I know the position was posted in July. If it's taken down, I hope that's a good sign that the position is in process. I'm not sure what Mr. Stafford or the mayor or others can tell me, but would love to see have any updates on the hiring a sustainability coordinator simply because I think that can help pilot allow the strategy that we want to adopt and also apply for grants that at this point Montclair just is lying on the table, which is kind of a shame. So I hope to be back in the next few months with more details, but we'd love to see and also make that specific request. Thanks very much.
Great, thank you very much. And Mr. Stafford, if you could speak to the position.
The gentleman's correct. The posting came and went. The resumes have been called and reviewed, and interviews are being scheduled. Of course.
Specific to the grant writing process, we've got grant writers on board that are also doing environmental grants through the Education Committee as well, so that's also being addressed. Thank you. Yep.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Bill Barron. I'm a resident of 98 Gordonhurst Avenue. I'm also the chair of the local Sierra Club group and the state chair for Sierra Club for Transportation. First, one of the things that just happened over the past 2 weeks is that Governor Murphy signed a bill that the Sierra Club championed to allocate $15 million a year for electric school buses for the next 3 years. And I want to thank Sean Spiller as his other hat for having N.J.A. chime in and support that bill. It was very nice of you to support us in that. It seems tonight is environmental night at the council. And while it is true that Montclair is a leader in many areas, the one area that I've been emailing members of the council continuously for the past year is getting Montclair to apply for grants for electric vehicles. And electric vehicles and charging stations. The last round of grants was just announced last week. West Orange got 2 electric school buses. Clifton got 3 electric school buses and 3 charging stations. Parsippany Troy Hills got an electric transit bus and a charging station. City of Newark got 4 electric garbage trucks. City of Hoboken got an electric garbage truck and an electric shuttle bus. West Orange has previously gotten 2 electric shuttle buses. Lakewood has gotten an electric truck. All these municipalities since 2020 have been applying for grants, and Montclair hasn't. And Sierra Club is here to support you, to provide any assistance. I've sent out notices about the grant application periods with no response. So I hope that the town seriously begins to look at how we can electrify not just school buses, but also garbage trucks. When I go to the recycling center on Saturday, there's a diesel garbage truck idling, spewing tons of pollutants out in the air. If that was an electric truck, you could have it running, no impact on the environment. And one other topic that, as a citizen, I've been concerned with has been the clearing of vegetation along park stream beds. The stream coming into Edgemont Pond, just below the bridge coming into the park, used to have a lot of vegetation. It was a place where fish would gather. The stream would be cool. There were herons there feeding on the fish. And 2 years ago or something, all of a sudden all the vegetation disappeared. In Yantacore Park, again, this spring, all the vegetation around the pond disappeared. Vegetation around the ponds and the streams are very important. It stabilizes the soil, it stops erosion, and it provides shade for wildlife to live in the streams, and stops algae bloom, helps cool the streams and the ponds for algae blooms. So I hope you can look at that and maybe replant and stop taking plants out. Thank you.
Bill, if I can ask you, Mr. Mayor, I just want to ask you, when you talked about I always respond to what you say and then send it on to the superintendent, because it's school buses, we don't buy them. We
No,
don't.
I understand that.
But you did get a response from Superintendent Pons, remember the
Yes, I
other day?
did.
Okay,
He's setting up a meeting in
Okay.
September.
good, thank you.
But, there are other vehicles that the city could be applying on for charging
Sure.
stations.
Yeah, absolutely. And part of that I know is, as we look at the infrastructure locations with municipal building, et cetera, I know we actually had some grants that we weren't able to utilize because of some shifts with generators and other pieces. But the idea is to look at that broader plan of where things are going to be located and build that infrastructure where it's going to be in the future. Councilman Jacobowski.
And Bill, I just wanted to mention also, when we were down at the League of Municipalities conference in November too, a few of us toured, the floor where you can see electric ambulances and fire trucks and police vehicles, and so it's very much on our consciousness. So I think it's sort of working its way through the committee. I'd like to see us as a governing body, start to put goals in place in terms of, as we are acquiring new equipment, what's that phase-in look like based on what's available, making sure we're planning based on obviously the heightened cost, deduct for the savings in fuel, go for the infrastructure to support it. So would very much like to see us go in that direction. So thank you for continuing to stay on it. And I did see that email chain with the superintendent, so it's good to see that'll happen with the business administrator there. Thanks.
Hello, I'm Steve N.J.S.A. I live on 18 Stevens Street, lived in Montclair since 2010. If I could have one wish come true tonight, you guys would all make a motion to commission a study on our swimming pools, capital improvements. I know the school district is I might be behind on some of the news here, so correct me, but I know the school district is doing a bond issue, and I don't know if the town is looking at any kind of a bond issue as well. I mean, interest rates are going to be going up, so this is a good time to issue debt. In general, it's not as cheap as it was, a year or two ago, but it's still historically cheap. Just some thoughts on the swimming pool situation. I'm not here to complain about what happened this summer. I'm just thinking that, compared to other towns, Montclair doesn't have very nice pools. I mean, you look at Verona, you look at Glen Ridge, and our pools aren't that nice, but like everything else, I realize it's a complicated situation because, everything is privatized now, so you have the country clubs, there's 3 or 4 country clubs in the area. They all have beautiful pools. A lot of people now in Montclair's a richer demographic. More people can go to these private pools. But I mean, do we want to have nicer pools? I think we should have nicer pools. We should be able to afford them. There's a lot of development in town. You think maybe the tax basis is coming in, is improving. Maybe we should have some money. So I would like to ask the town to consider commissioning a study of some capital improvements, not just the swimming pools, but the swimming pools would be good. I don't think they've been upgraded in at least 30 years, maybe 40 years. And again, other towns have much nicer pools. So, and we're a nicer town than everybody else, so we should have nice pools. So,
We got more pools than anybody. We have more pools than anybody, 3.
yeah, I know. The problem is, it's complicated. We have 3 pools, and a lot of towns just have 1 pool. maybe we could build an indoor pool at Walnut, at Essex, and then have Nishwain and the other two just stay at outdoor pools. At least a cost analysis might be in order at some point, just to see how much it would cost. And again, I realize there are private options out there that people are using, but I mean, Glen Ridge has a beautiful town pool, and they also have a bunch of country clubs too, so they've managed to pull it off. So I'm just, those are my thoughts.
Thank you, Steve.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Eileen Birmingham. I'm here today two reasons. One is to request again to stream all your meetings, including conference meetings, and to allow for virtual public comment. And Mayor Spiller, I saw your comment that when you tried it early in the pandemic, it was a disaster or something like that. And I went back and looked at some of those meetings, and I agree with you that it was kind of chaotic. But I think we can all agree that we've all learned a lot since the beginning of the pandemic, and also that, airborne contagions, we just should respect that there are just some people who should not be out and about in a public space, and the coronavirus, unfortunately, is not going to go away. So I would point to two examples where virtual meetings are run very smoothly. One is right here in town where the Board of Ed uses virtual public comment. They have a hybrid meeting, very smooth. And the town of Morristown also allows for virtual public comment through Zoom. And I would point you to the June 28th meeting of their town council at the 19-minute mark. Someone commented virtually, and it was very smooth, no problem. And I think just in the spirit of everything that's going on in this town, just being able to hear from Mr. Barron about the grants that are available that we should be taking advantage of. Mr. Scantleberry, with your data on senior transportation, I think hopefully we can have continue that culture of sharing data. So I again just please consider to stream all your meetings and allow for virtual comment. And my second point is about Glen Ridge. As you might guess, I kind of chuckled about their swimming pool being better than ours when they're not paying very much for the fire department. I would also just mention we have an agreement with them to manage their water and sewer system, and that agreement dates back to 2011. From my reading of the contract, they're paying us less now than they were in 2011. And I just, again, this is my simple reading. There may be more involved, but I just want to remind that costs have not gone down, and Glen Ridge should not have a special carve out to be paying less than other people just because they tag on to our resources. So anyway, thank you for your time and thank you for your service.
Thank you.
So the green light appears. Green light is on. Hi, everyone. Good evening. This is a conference or regular? Conference meeting or regular? This is a regular one. I'm usually really good at keeping track of all that. We know we have to be here every time to represent the tenants organization of Montclair Advocacy Group. And I'm happy to be here tonight and to see everyone. Just want to come up to the mic to make sure we acknowledge you. And we are celebrating our 3rd birthday this year in April of 2022. It is 3 years for the Tenants Org of Montclair. And we are happy that we have rent control now. We were set up again out at South Park Street and Bloomfield Avenue this evening to make sure that we could let everyone know that we have rent control, sign up new members. We are growing. We grew again today. And we are still helping tenants with myriad of issues that they have concerns, layman's terms of things in the Tenants' Rights Manual, the handbook that's at lsnjlaw.org, and to make sure that we acknowledge the township for the detailed section on under government rent control, the plus sign on a mobile to drop down to the options to reach tenants' rights, the ordinance, and a number of other important documents that tenants will need, and we're helping to get that information out to them. We do still post to our Facebook, not rapid fire, we don't flood the page. Toom Advocacy, TOOMADVOCACY, so that anyone who wants to access Facebook can do that to get information on our meetings, and join us at Tenants Organization Montclair at gmail.com. And the Google Voice number is 973-936-8848 for appointments.
I think Ahava Felicidad forgot to provide her name. She's the president and founder of the Tenants Organization of Montclair, but also two other, you did not. I'm Tony Martin. And two things. One, I only live 1/2 block from Town Hall. Nevertheless, I support public streaming of council meetings as well. I really feel that anything that we can do to increase citizen participation, such as we engaged in that brought us rent control, is good. Secondly, I know that the first organizational meeting of the Rent Control Board is tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. I checked on the website just before I came here, and I didn't see it listed. Again, in lieu of the fact that we want to increase awareness of the new rent control ordinance and also citizen participation, I realize it's just an organizational meeting, but I want to go. So hope it can be put on the website. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have the times? So can you guys answer a question about the, just talk to you about it, but a question, the answer and the question about then the post that's supposed to be in the times, which we get from ACME.
I think it's been legally posted, right?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act.
Yeah. I just meant
Because
on
of
the website.
Because of the timing, I don't think the Montclair Times carried it, but the Open Public Meetings Act said either both and or, so it was posted in the Star Ledger.
And we'll ask Mr. Stafford about getting on our website, if that hasn't happened yet,
Well,
by to date. Mr.
Yeah,
Stafford.
so,
I'm trying to look right now.
Yeah.
It might just be someplace other than
Right.
it normally would be, but yes, we'll get it up there.
okay.
Sure.
I also just want to say, how seriously I think we are taking these issues. We, 2 meetings ago, appointed over 20 individuals to the Rent Control Board, to Landlord Tenant, and to the Housing Commission. I met for the first time with the new Housing Commission members about 3 weeks ago, and then I think it was last week, Ms. DeVito was with me. We met with the new Landlord Tenant Advisory Committee as well, and I know the Rent Control Board is meeting again, to your point, tomorrow night. What's been clear to me was what's important for us to do as a township is to come up with some sort of a Venn diagram that really explains the jurisdiction of each of these bodies, so that the public really understands who to go to for the issue that you're having. So I think that's something that we just need a little bit of time. These individuals are new, many of them. They're studying the law. They're studying the particulars to be able to answer questions, to know their roles in terms of whether it's advisory or it's helping develop policy or it's actually adjudicating issues. So just a little bit of time and patience as we get this whole function, frankly, up to speed and clarified for the many, many, many tenants and landlords in town. Thanks.
And I think the good news for the public out there is the point of contact, as through Mr. Stafford, is Mr. Scantlebury. So he'll be looking at that overlap and differentiation, and when people reach out, he can direct as appropriate. Councilwoman?
Thanks, Mayor. related to this too, I know I had posed a question and perhaps an answer came through, but I want to let the public know as well that while we constituted those three bodies, the Rent Control Board being the only one that we had to fully constitute, we've added members to all three. There may still be open positions pursuant to different categories of membership, and I just would encourage what can be made public on the website is clear for people to know if there's still positions, and we would want to make sure they have, again, full and robust participation so we can ensure that there's always a quorum as needed and we could really do the people's business in these three bodies. Thanks.
Okay, the previous speaker mentioned the Glenridge Fire Department. Do we know will we ever find out what happened with that, or is that still something that's not decided, or where do we stand with that? Is that a secret?
It is a secret.
still a
There's a
secret.
secret bid process
Okay.
that they have, and they have not closed that bid process. Once
Okay,
that
if it's a
occurs.
secret, it's a secret.
It's a-
I'm sure we'll find out eventually. But as been pointed out, the information that comes from the town to the people is skimpy. When you go to Channel 34 and there's some session going on, there is absolutely no indication on the screen as to what you're plugging in. Unless you know who the people are, you don't know if it's a Board of Education or a Board of Adjustment. There should be some way to have a little thing at the bottom that says, this is a printing of a session on such and such a date. That can't be too hard. I think that's all my complaints for now. Thank you.
Well, I think, I know Rick is listening in the back, but I do believe most of them do have that on there, so I'll have to look myself. Don't they? Yeah, okay. They have them on there? Okay. Yes.
I see we're allowed to come up a second time.
Well, technically, no, but go ahead.
I just wanted to mention, I read recently in either the Times or the Local that the council was planning on rebuilding this building. And I hope that when you do that, you incorporate full environmental considerations, solar, LED lighting, the whole range.
Before you even finish, that's a yes. That's absolutely, even anything even outside of this that we have a say in, we try to get as much of that as possible, so.
Good. Want to make sure.
It's worth your second trip up, so that's good, yeah.
The new park building in Nishuing is not.
Hmm. Yeah.
You mean Glenfield?
Yeah, the county park, yep. Mhm. Anyone?
My name is Catherine Graham Ross. I'm here because I work at the Neighborhood Child Care Center here in town, and I've been there for 6 years, working there. I live in the town. The other day, there was like a slew of tickets up and down. We weren't aware that the person that gave out the tickets was coming through. And like I said, we all work there. It's about 15 of us that work there, and we all got tickets. And there are I think it's like 4 signs, 4-hour parking from Elmwood to Bloomfield Avenue. And my thing is this, Cummings, Mr. Cummings? Right, I emailed you. And what I would like to do is possibly get the staff there, some decals or something to show that we work at the neighborhood center. I know Ms. Beek said that she had spoke to the town years ago in regards to that. But we have to park way down by Elmwood or Woodland Avenue and walk all the way down. That's what we've been doing since we've all got tickets. I spoke to a couple of landlords in the neighborhood too, that when they come out of their driveways and they park in front of their homes, they're getting tickets too.
Yeah, that's pretty much the standard, yes. Most places don't have overnight parking. A lot do have restrictions, 2-hour, 4-hour. That's
Right.
the. Mhm.
But is there anything that can be done for the staff of the neighborhood center? Because we have to work there. I mean, even though you have Glenfield School across the street, we have students that are, that come into the daycare that also go across the street, and they come across the street to the after-school programs. And we have a lot of parents that drop kids off too. And like, you know, they're taking a risk too, because sometimes they have to park on the other side of the street and bring their babies across the street. And
Yeah,
then-
I think you've gone about it the exact way you should, which is you met the councilman, right? And the councilman will look into, you know, we've got a lot of different entities all throughout the town with employees who, I'm sure as you imagine, would love to park on the streets for extended periods, looking at what we have now, right? Making sure that he's following precedent and looking at what we have and see if we can change anything, and then getting back and informing the rest of us as to what he's seen, and then we'll look at that and consider it and you know, see if there's anything we could do specific to this situation.
So in the
But that's the
meantime-
proper start place, and let's
Okay.
see what he finds out, and of course, we then act on what we learn. of
Yeah,
course.
Mr. Mayor, the
Yeah,
first
if you-
step,
mhm.
Ms. Ross has explained to you, was that there have been complaints about people parking there and taking the Bay Street train station.
Right, exactly.
So that was one of the reasons for the, you know, immediacy
Mm-hmm.
of what had happened. I think the next step, as explained, as discussed, was what is a potential remedy for the staffing and what is the number?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see giving up 15 spaces in that area for 8 to 10 hours is something that could potentially happen. But, you know, we are going to try to figure out a way to help you guys, because you are doing a great service. And you, as a neighborhood center kid, as a child, I do know the great work that you've done. Mr. Scantlebury, you have something?
I too was a neighborhood center kid. But I just want to make one correction. I believe there are 3 4-hour signs between the Joneses' house right next door down to 5 Maple. There are like 3 signs there that says 4 hours. But yes, the enforcement was a result of the complaints about people parking in the,
Right, I see.
and taking the train. So how do you know which car is a commuter versus, you know?
Well, I put it to you
So
this
we
way.
can, maybe we can do that. And I briefly had a conversation with the parking supervisor today regarding that. But have you spoken with Glenfield? Especially when school is out, to utilize the, not under the school, not necessarily that parking space, but the parking space on the park side, where there are like 6 spaces there? You didn't think about that?
So to answer that,
But my point is, you know, I guess immediately you could probably speak with the Board of Education to utilize those spaces, especially while, before school gets out.
well, Brian, I have an email into Dr. Pons about
So there you
summertime,
go.
potentially using either parking lot that they have close to the school or underneath the deck, because they're not utilized as much when school is out. But there's still the long term of when school returns that will have to be worked out as well.
Right, because see, I myself, I have to be there at 7,
Right.
because there are kids that catch the bus like 7:30, 7:35. So in the wintertime, I would have to walk from Elmwood.
Right, so
down.
again, it goes to identifying whether or not the school has space. If you look at the parking side by the park,
But,
the little driveway that goes down,
right,
right, that's not always utilized by cars. It's sometimes open, but again, that's a conversation that started to identify whether or not any space on the Board of Education property is available. But then on the flip side, what you're asking for is, what can we do for you to park near the facility? And that's a conversation that has to be had with parking.
okay. And then as far as the signs are concerned, there are 4 signs. It's 2 in front of the neighborhood center.
Right.
Yeah,
It's one at the corner of Elmwood, close to Elmwood.
And
It's another one.
down in
2
front of 5
2 of them down the street.
Maple, in front of 5 Maple.
Right.
And as a violator, I have parked in front of Glenfield Park and taken the train.
There you
So,
go.
I'm not going to tell you that I haven't done it myself, but for real, but that was the impetus behind the
Right.
parking, and so.
Right, and you know, and like I said, I'm there early in the morning, so I get to see people that do catch that train. I do see them park
Right.
and go down the street.
I understand we're working on
You know,
something.
right, because, you know, it's like, I mean, we've been there through the pandemic. I mean, we were like the only daycare open during the pandemic.
You were the daycare who took care of children from the school system for free. The only one,
Exactly.
until we got Glenfield open.
Ms. Beeks, yes, we've
Yes, we
been
were
in
there.
touch a lot.
When there was nobody else on the street, we were
Right.
there.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Oh, you gotta get in the park, free park.
Hi. Hi, my name is Jennifer May. I just want to piggyback on what Steve J.S.A mentioned about the pools. I would just, if you have not been to one of the pools, any of the pools recently, I'm asking every member of this council to go to all 3 pools and go into the facility and look at the bathrooms, look at the grime, look at the dirt, look at the rust. It's an embarrassment and it's unsanitary. So it is, you know, to make a capital investment plan and do all of that, but in the meantime, I really, so you can really see what we are even working with what we have. It's horrible. Even since the pandemic, when they took the chairs away, they don't even have chairs. You have to bring your own chair to the pool because 2 years ago, they thought it was spread by touching. We know that that is not the case. And now, when you go to the pool, there's not even a place to sit down. So if you don't bring your chair, you're sitting on a towel on the cement. It's not, I'm not asking for luxury. I think the bar could be in a quite acceptable and well-serving without going all fancy. I don't think we're asking for much. Please go to the pools. Have you been? I don't know. Have you looked at the facilities?
I've
Go
been
in the
in the
women's room,
mountainside.
go
I've
in
been
the
in
men's
mountainside.
room.
I only went to the men's room.
I have pictures. I'm happy,
very
I
good.
took pictures of the Nishwain pool last year, the bathroom situation, leaks, peeling paint,
I
rusty
just want to add, do you
infrastructure.
understand that these are things that come under the direct supervision of the town manager
Okay.
and a particular department that is in charge? We do not micromanage these things, but I've seen it, and I've called in and talked about it. You're right, we've got to do something, but we have to also be safe, and so that's why the chairs were removed originally. But I know it's an inconvenience, but I've been there, and I know what you're talking about. We only have 1 pool right now operating, and we're
But why do we
hopefully
not
gonna
have chairs now? Why
All right,
now?
well, I don't
Yeah,
know
I'm a
if
little-
that can be done
Well, Mr.
by the
Stafford, that would be
manager.
the thing that we would confirm with the health department as to exactly
department.
what the, yeah.
They have to
I
say.
mean,
it's
all
a-
of the other town pools have chairs.
Yeah, that's, as I said, you brought it to our concern, so
Yeah.
we're asking them to address it with the health department
Okay.
and public community affairs and get some chairs, that sounds like.
Thank you.
That's,
Yeah, I'm surprised that, because when I went by Mountainside, the tables were up with the canopies and
I thought I saw that too.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
I-
well,
But
that's
no
all I was
chairs.
I'll ask about the chairs, because my daughter's she works there every weekend to see what's, yeah, that's horrible, if there are no chairs there.
Thank you.
I'll just mention as well too, and this was an education for me, when we redo parks with Green Acres grants, pools aren't qualified for those grant dollars because when you charge admission for a pool, as the state doesn't allow you then to use those dollars or that grant for the same purpose. So not to make excuses, but we had a pandemic, 18 million in lost revenue, 2020, 2021. We're digging out of a hole. I think you can see the sort of state of all of our facilities in the town. Go look at the police station, look at the school buildings. So it's just this constant struggle and exercise around prioritization. And how do we spend those dollars? How do we all, we all have our own priorities for different wards at large perspective. So it's an ongoing issue for sure. I've got both Nishwain and Essex Pool I used pre-pandemic. I haven't been back to either since, but I would agree and would love to see those pools upgraded. We've had those conversations with the ward counselors, had those conversations with our CFO, And then, as the mayor mentioned earlier, we do have a grant writer as well, who I know we're paying their bill tonight, and hopefully can consider adding some more capacity to their plate to help us find some additional dollars for that. Thank you.
Is there just a general plan in the town to do capital improvements? I mean, you mentioned the new town hall, but is there, any type of a bond issue for the town or anything like that to do capital improvements?
Well, so just to keep it, we have people who are listening, so it's only up at the microphone. It is only one time, but for the nature of this, we'll say, yes, there are capital improvement plans for a number of different things and for all different departments, whether that's infrastructure around sewer, whether that's infrastructure around water, name it, right? There is. To the councilman's point, it's managing the dollars to how much of that work can you do per year, while also mindful of the tax impact and mindful of the lost revenue, right? So all of those things intersecting, we're constantly looking at, there's a little more here in this department for this infrastructure work, or a little more here. That's the ongoing debate. But short answer is yes.
Mayor, while you were speaking, I got a text message, and I say this very humbly and respectfully. There are chaise lounges and chairs out at the pool, and have been all summer.
And have been all summer?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not sure where. I'm not sure where the disconnect there is, but you're hearing that there are chairs and have been all summer.
That was my fault. It was last summer and the year before they weren't.
Okay. Okay. Well, yeah. That's it. Well, again, that's why I'm here. If you come up and ask the question, Mr. Stafford, thanks for getting that answer, and we're glad to hear that there are chairs there and have been all summer. So that's great. All right. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, we'll close public comment. Appreciate that. Next, we have a pending ordinance for second reading. This is Ordinance O-22-20, which is a fully funded capital ordinance. Again, we're happy to talk about that infrastructure and capital work, right? This is $2.1 million from our sewer utility capital improvement fund for the cost thereof to refurbish the sewer slip lining and remove infiltration and manhole rehabilitation. And it's for a sum of, again, $2.1 million. And I so move.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. I'm going to open the public hearing without objection. Is there anyone who wishes to be heard on this specific ordinance? Okay, seeing none without objection, I'll close the hearing. The hearing is now closed. Any additional comments, concerns? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, I think as you call that roll, again, we're excited again not to add debt on here, but be investing significantly in one of the capital projects that we need here in town. Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Mayor. Counselor Cummings?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Herlock absent. Counselor Price Abrams?
Yes.
Counselor Russo?
Yes.
Counselor Schlager?
Yes.
Counselor Yacobelis?
Yes.
Mayor Spiller?
Yes. Next is Ordinance O-22-21, which is an ordinance establishing a handicap parking space in front of the property located at 83 Park Street in Montclair. I so move.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Without objection, we're going to open the public hearing. Is there objection? Anyone who wishes to be heard in relation to this ordinance? Seeing none, without objection, I'm going to close the hearing. Any additional comments, concerns? Madam Clerk?
Counselor Cummings?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Herlock absent. Counselor Price Abrams?
Yes.
Counselor Russo?
Yes.
Counselor Schlager?
Yes.
Counselor Yacobelis?
Yes.
Mayor Spiller?
Yes. Without objection, unless somebody wants one of these held out, I'm going to read the following and move in one motion, unless there's objection. First is Resolution R-22-166, which is a resolution rejecting all proposals received for the RFP 22-10 for professional services for architectural design services. The next is Resolution R-22-167, which is authorizing the execution of a contract with Serve Structures LLC to provide home improvement repairs to qualifying property in Montclair Home Improvement Program. Next is Resolution R-22-168, resolution authorizing fireworks to be displayed during the St. Sebastian Society Festival. Resolution R-22-169, which is a resolution reappointing our municipal court judge, Joseph Angelo, as judge. Next is Resolution R-22-170, which is a resolution awarding the contract for the Edgemont Park pedestrian bridge replacement. Councilwoman Schlager, I'm sure you're very excited that we're getting that one done there. Resolution R-22-171, which is awarding the contract for the 2022 fall tree planting, and having worked directly with the Environmental Commission for years, really excited, as we always do, with the a large amount of dollars we put into investing in planting our trees. Resolution R-22-172, which is authorizing the award for contract for 3 mobile food vendor parking spaces at the Montclair High School for year 2022-2023. That's our common practice that's awarded through that process. Next is Resolution R-22-175, authorizing an amendment to increase the initial encumbrance amount of Resolution R-21-134 with Core and Main LP for the purchase and delivery of water truck materials pursuant to N.J.A.C. 5:30-11.10. And I'll leave the last one for Councilwoman Schlager. So I so move all of those.
Second.
They've been moved and seconded. Any questions, concerns, comments?
Yeah, I have
Please,
the
Council.
home improvement
Councilman Cummings.
repair. What's the income level for someone to qualify for that?
Mr. Stafford, do you have that off the top of your head?
I don't know dollar figures, Counselor, but I do know that the properties must be occupied by very low, or moderate income households. So if you're asking for the actual figures, I'll have to forward
Yeah,
those
if
to
you
you
can
by
get
email.
that, because
Of course.
a couple of senior homeowners have tried to apply and were rejected based on, and they were just on like Social Security and moderate pension. So I'd like to know, what is the income level?
Certainly.
To qualify for?
Those numbers are readily ascertainable. I just don't know what they are off the
Yeah,
top of my
thank
head.
you.
If it's HUD, it's approximately $100,000 if it's HUD for Essex County, New
Yeah,
Jersey.
then this
for
isn't
the low.
HUD.
For
This
low.
is not HUD, so Tim, if you can get that answer for me, I appreciate it.
I just-
Any other, please?
And my vote isn't contingent on these answers, just a couple questions. So first, for the RFP, Mrs. Stafford, I'm assuming if we're rejecting all proposals that we're going to issue an RFP again immediately tomorrow, like this week? Item number one. This is for Lackawanna Plaza.
That's the last paragraph in the be it resolved in that resolution. It's
Re-advertised.
rejected and re-advertised.
What's the timeline for re-advertising? You know,
I
okay.
think he'll do it most days.
Okay. And then on the tree planting, I know that this dollar amount is just it seems it's only a piece of the larger pot in terms of what we passed months ago from a capital perspective. Is that true? It's about,
By design, we authorized, or the governing body authorized 250 in this spring planting. However, given the adoption of the budget time-wise, the plantings couldn't occur. So 250 will be going in the fall. The company, neither the company nor the township could handle 500. The most we can handle is 325, which is why we reduced the number.
okay. And do you know, or can you at least ensure that
That's why you passed the budget.
the native plant law is being followed with regard to this?
I'm sure it
threshold?
is.
Okay,
Same goes for street.
thank you.
Mayor, I just wanted to say on the Saint Sebastian Feast Festival, the fireworks are gonna be displayed on the evening of the 28th. I think that's what it says. Or the 27th, I'm sorry, and on the 28th. And this feast runs from Wednesday, August 24th to Sunday, August 28th. It's a 5-day event, which is really a tradition at Cavney Field, usually from 5 o'clock in the evening till 10. And they have a lot of entertainment, music, and of course, good food. But I want to encourage everyone to participate and enjoy that very, very traditional feast of St. Sebastian that's held every year in Montclair. Thank you, Mayor.
You bet. Any other comments on these? Seeing none, Madam Clerk?
Counselor Cummings?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Herlock absent. Counselor Price Abrams?
Yes.
Counselor Russo?
Yes.
Counselor Schlager?
Yes.
Counselor Yacobelis?
Yes.
Mayor Spiller?
Yes. Next is Resolution R-22-173. Councilwoman Schlager?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Whereas invoices against the Township of Montclair in favor of the following persons for the amount set opposite their respective names have been received, duly audited, and found correct. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the Township of Montclair, the County of Essex, that said invoices be, and they are hereby ordered paid, and that checks be drawn by the Finance Department to the order of such persons for the amounts respectively and hereinafter stated on the computer printout attached hereto and made a part hereof. This bill list is dated August 16th, year of 2022, for the amount of $8,581,971.29, and I so move.
Second. Any questions, concerns, comments?
I have
Councilwoman Schlager?
question. Yeah. I just had a question on page 6. There is 4 payments to Eric and Bernstein, but it's cut off of what?
Those are tax appeal payments. They're our law firm that represents us, one of two, in tax appeal matters.
Okay. Okay, great. And I would assume that on page 8, that's the same thing for the Hendricks appraisal, that's for the tax.
The Hendricks Appraisal Company handles appraisals not only for tax appeals, but also for added assessments.
Very good. Thank you.
Councilman Yacobelis?
Mr. Stafford, page 5, Connolly and Hickey Historical, this similar, just where there's an acronym, I just don't know what it means, PO for CLG grant, $10,935. Page 5, the third item.
That is the Upper Montclair Commuter Potential District Survey.
Got it.
It was authorized by the governing body by Resolution 22-082.
Thank you. And then also on page 5, DeFrancesco Bateman, PC, it just says for professional services rendered for, and then it cuts off.
That's the second firm that handles tax appeals.
Okay. We're getting our money's worth on these tax appeals. Let me just check. Okay, and then I just want to note, we are paying the Aubrey Group. It looks like a small payment. I know that we owed them quite a bit of money. So do we know if there are more payments in the pipeline?
I don't know.
Okay, follow up with Manja. Sorry, everybody. And then, sorry, last one is on 28 for Gannett Fleming for the Midtown Parking Deck engineering proposal. Is this the alleyway work?
No, Janet Fleming handles the monitoring and inspection of the construction on an ongoing basis. So that bill, I believe, is for work that it's performed
Already.
in conjunction with construction of the deck.
Okay, and by any chance, do you have an update on the alleyway work?
I don't
Okay.
this evening, but I can certainly get that to you.
Thank you, Mrs. Stafford. Thank you, Mayor.
You bet. Any other questions? Hearing none. Madam Clerk?
Counselor Cummings?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Herlock
you.
absent. Counselor Price Abrams?
Yes.
Counselor Russo?
Yes.
Counselor Schlager?
Yes.
Counselor Yacobelis?
Yes.
Mayor Spiller?
Yes. Thank you very much. Next is Resolution R-22-174, which is a resolution authorizing executive session without the public being permitted in attendance in accordance with N.J.S.A 10:4-12B, and the subject is litigation. I so move.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? All right, we'll now go into executive session. Thank you very much, everyone. appreciate that. With that, we do want to take an action here. So I'll read this resolution, which is Resolution R22, and we'll, of course, appropriately number it through the clerk. This is a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of settlement agreement and release with Ascend N.J.S.A LLC, and authorizing and directing the Township Manager to issue a Class 5 Category A cannabis retailer license to Ascend N.J.S.A LLC, subject to and contingent upon the terms and conditions set forth therein. And I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions, concerns, comments? Hearing none. Madam Clerk?
Counselor Cummings?
No.
Deputy Mayor Hurlock, absent. Counselor Price Abrams?
Yes.
Counselor Russo?
Yes.
Counselor Schlager?
Yes.
Counselor Yacovelis?
Yes.
Mayor Spiller?
Yes. Thank you very much. And that concludes that business. Appreciate that. Now we'll go around. Mr. Stafford, Township Manager, anything?
Thank you, Mayor. I have nothing further this evening.
Great. Deputy Manager?
No comment, Mayor.
Okay. Township Attorney?
No comment.
Assistant Attorney?
Nothing, Mayor.
Madam Clerk?
I have no report, thank you.
Okay. Why don't we start this side? This time, Councilman, I forget which side I started last time, so Councilman Huh? I asked them both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Mayor, I'm
yeah, clearly. I'm like, I just called on them, but all right, you know.
We're on TV.
The only thing, no, I do want to say that the Jazz Festival on Saturday was a lot of fun, seeing you there, hanging out.
Yeah, that was good.
Great way to kick off what hopefully will be a great day on the 10th. So yeah, so that's all I'm going to say tonight.
All right, thank you, Councilman. It was a ton of fun. Got to hang out and with you, your wife. It was a wonderful time. And then, Councilman, I know I saw you with the bid piece, and we got to frame up the dog there. People will on social media will know what we're talking about. But it certainly was, I think, a testament to what Montclair is all about. It's again, just some of the wonderful things we have offering. I know my dad came into town to check it out and really enjoyed himself, and so many others come into town. Really appreciate the things that we have here. So it was a great event. Absolutely, Councilman. Councilwoman Price Abrams.
Thanks, Mayor. I don't have a lot this evening either, but just to wish everyone continued good health and good enjoyment of our summer. I did miss it because I've been out of town, but look forward to the next big event of the Jazz Fest and the many events that will be coming online as we all resume in the fall. In the meantime, enjoy a safe and healthy summer.
Great, thank you. Councilman Russo?
Yes, thanks, Mayor. I just wanted to give a shout out to the Starbucks Workers Union. And the mayor and I both went to one of their little gatherings, and then they just voted last week to have a union recognized. Finally, they got recognized by unanimously voting to have a union. But the Starbucks leadership is still trying to break these people. We just have a great little group there at the Park and Church Street Starbucks. So I hope everybody goes there and says, yeah, give me the coffee, but make sure you leave us with a union shop. The other thing is my sister's now 69. My brother last night and today, they've been celebrating on Zoom, is 72 with more to do. So my brother Richard, my sister Anne Marie, she's not well out in California, the two people that really mean so much to me. I've been preoccupied with them the last couple of weeks. And I wanted people to know that's one of the reasons I left last week. I think September 11th is going to come up while we're not in session, so I wanted everybody to know, and I want the manager and those who put this together, always our fire chief, police chief, and all the first responders, that we should still, we did it last year, we had a 20th year anniversary of September 11th. It's a tragedy that we try to remember, but we also often forget that we had 10 people in Montclair lose their lives. So I'd like us to do something again at the Watchung Plaza Memorial. We have the little stone with the names of those victims on September 11th from Montclair. We were the largest in Essex County, the town that had the largest number of losses. So I'd like us to remember September 11th and never forget those families. Thank you, Mayor.
No, absolutely. Thank you for that. And to your first comment on the Starbucks, I know, visiting over there along with you and certainly others, it's great to see just so many of the youth really getting together to make that happen. It's young people working there and constantly facing the challenges. Certainly we see the latest where they're challenging some of the even the voting process. We've seen that before. But really great to see them continuing and holding strong. So appreciate that, and certainly your comments on September 11th. This is Councilman Yacobelis.
Thanks, Mayor. I'll just comment that, we're not meeting for over a month, but I think, there's been obviously a lot of folks have come in and complained to us or emailed us or, wrote op-eds in the paper about certain issues, and I think we are bringing several issues to resolution, particularly Ascend tonight. So looking forward to that process moving forward in terms of Ascend, looking forward to the parking deck opening hopefully at some point, I would imagine late September, depending on when we get the alleyway work done. Obviously all the work at all the parks, Bloomfield Avenue and all the traffic signals. There's a lot of work going on in town, which should be demonstrative of all the work that everyone here is doing and the staff and the county. And it can be frustrating at times, but just look up and look around. There's a whole lot of things happening around the town. So I hope we come back and we're in a better place. It's been a rough summer, but at the same time, everybody's worked really hard. Thank you.
Yeah, Councilman, I think I would just echo those points. I think what you highlighted and was one of the questions tonight, just the infrastructure work that's going on around town. There's so many levels that people don't see below the surface, below the street, and certainly the amount of road work that we've also got done, the pavings that continue constantly all throughout the township. Those improvements that we're talking about at these parks are there to make sure we're making improvements and we're not falling behind. We have some limitations on where some of those dollars can go. But these are constant upgrades, upgrading our parks and making improvements there, which is a huge piece of it that everybody rightfully so wants to see. And I combine that with what the Councilman Cummings started with which is while all that's happening in Montclair, we're also having things like a jazz festival and so many other things that draw people to this town. I think it's why it's still one of the most desirable places to be. And certainly a lot going on, a lot being done and accomplished, and certainly people will be enjoying the benefits of these things for years and years to come. So I'm excited about some of these pieces. And solving some long-standing ones like parking issues and others with new decks and things like that. Councilwoman Schlager.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to wish all the thousands of students that will start attending our Montclair Public Schools on Tuesday, September 6th, the first day of school. And also to be mindful, there'll be many, many school buses back in our streets, bringing the students back and forth to their schools. So always be mindful and follow the rules of the school buses, which are really important. So I want to send my best wishes to all those students returning and new students. I also, today, I happened to have a chance. I was by the Clary Anderson Arena, and I saw the new playground in Essex Park, and it looks really great.
Any trees get cut down?
No, I did not see any trees. I did not see any trees cut down. I saw a lot of new, really fresh new equipment that was brightly painted and really pretty, and a lot of new receptacles, trash and recycling receptacles all around the park, and new lighting. It looked great.
So they delivered.
They did. They delivered. New surfacing, really, really nice. And it's still a work in progress, but they've made a big impact. And hopefully this fall, many children will enjoy it. So.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. And I see a little bit of a smirk on the councilman's face because I think we all know that these improvements to parks, they're great, they're wonderful. We know it's frustrating at times, and we certainly hear about it, but it's for some long-term and needed improvements that we're all pretty excited about. I did also hear a grunt when you noted the back to school, because for anybody going back, it's like hearing those back to school commercials really early in the summer, and you're talking about the first day of school already. So you've already gotten some upset kids out there right now, for sure, anyone who's listening.
There's already Halloween candy in the grocery stores.
Man, we don't, they should be. They should be in bed. But certainly we all wish remind everyone to just be safe in travels out there with our kids when they do go back. And certainly we wish them all enjoy the rest of the summer. Still summer, kids, right? So enjoy the rest of your summer before you go back. But absolutely, Councilwoman, great to see some of those parks, lights, all those different things going on throughout the town that we're seeing those improvements. And I'll just certainly say I know that it's a lot that we see and try to manage with our committees and other pieces, and certainly through you, Mr. Stafford, to go to staff. And we are as demanding as the public is. We get that too, but it's because we all care, and we know the public here cares significantly, and that's why we do what we do, and convey it to you and put them on you as well. And we appreciate you and all those who work with you, their efforts as well. So thank you for that. And with that, I appreciate everyone's time, and I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good night.